All right, hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Hunting for Inspiration. So what we're doing in these videos is we're sitting down, we're playing some games, and we're analyzing them for interesting examples of 3D artwork or environment design or lighting, anything that might be nice to try and recreate in the future, maybe as a learning experience or just to take notes from. So we're starting off by playing the new Indiana Jones game, and in the first episode of this, we got some really interesting pieces of inspiration. We got some nice lighting references, environments. We looked around at compositional angles, how to use lighting to draw the focus point of an image. We've got atmospherics. We had a look at texture references like these different bricks and the mortar blending between them. And there was quite a lot of examples for all of this in there. In particular in this game, I found it quite interesting how much effort they've put into using the lighting to direct to the player path, which is quite a common thing to do, but it was still cool to see all the same. And then at the end of all of this, I'm going to make these reference boards available to my patrons as well, so they can basically just have a look at the screenshots I've taken in case they want to use them as references as well. So we're going to carry on with Indiana Jones and we'll see how it goes. So at the end of the last episode, we ended up in a place where, and this may be spoilery, we're now entering the kind of Vatican complex, which means there's going to be a lot of interesting combinations of architectural styles. I have no idea what's going to happen, so let's just carry on and see if we can pick out anything nice. Immediately we enter the Apostolic Library. I believe that's what the name of it was. With a lot of bookcases, some calming wood, nice rugs. And this game so far, it's had so many environments where we've had large windows bringing light into the room. I do quite like that. I wonder if I can get a nice angle. One thing I really appreciate here is how we've got something more modern to the time. Inside and outside, it looks far more ancient, especially with all of the garden elements, which is quite common to Roman styles of things. Maybe I'll just take a quick reference from about here. We'll try and get some of that wood in as well. There we go. So Control-Alt print screen and paste that into our file. The reason I use Control-Alt and print screen is because I've got a couple of monitors, and if you do that, then it will only take a print screen from the first monitor, or the one that your cursor's hovering over. Coming down to the lower level of this library, it feels a bit better being lower down in the space, and that's a way better view of the outside from here as well. Let me just get up close with that. Yeah, hopefully we can walk around out there because that looks lovely. I'm keen on possibly doing kit bash-like pieces for different architectural eras and styles like what we're seeing out there, because when you do modular detailed architectural pieces like that, it becomes so quick and easy just to piece things together for doing things like demonstration scenes. All right, this room is quite different. We've got some interesting, these are probably papers being dried out, I wonder, either paper or leather, or a combination. Again, it's interesting. One thing I've noticed about the textures is there's so much layering involved in terms of considering the physical layers of surfaces. So if we go to the wall here, we can see another example of that. It looks like we get combinations of plaster and brick, but that actually looks like a wood texture, which is interesting. Is it actually wood, or is that weird? Oh, is that a graphical problem here? A little gap between the wall pieces. I'll come back to that. One thing I might do is, because I love this, I'm just going to look up at it and take a screenshot for the reference board. This is very cozy over here. I love to sit here and read a book. Again, lots of wood elements here. And again, I'm noticing a lot of these grungy things happening in the game. And I think it does add to a sense of realism, although maybe not realism, because every time we see grunge in artwork, it's always overdone to the point of, just trying to make something interesting. I wonder if, it's more of just an artistic expression rather than something realistic. Yeah, so that's why we saw the graphical error there. It's because there was a separate mesh piece. So that's always quite difficult to hide. All right, cobweb details.
Very exciting, Indy. My hands are shaking. I
Are
wonder
they?
who built this place and what it was for.
This is interesting. I like how the light of the candle is reflecting off of his glasses. Just a very small detail. So much layering of textures for these stone elements. Some gravel on the bottom there. They've done a really good job with all of this. Okay, so we've got some decrepit area here with a bit of light poking in. So that's being used for artistic effect. Kind of helps to highlight where we're looking. I would take some references here, but it's a little bit too dark, I would say. Let's add a bit of light. Although I do like this. Again, the combination of older stone, dirt, and probably newer elements. So maybe I will grab this as a reference. Tell you what, because the game is so dark, I'm just going to turn some of the lights off in this room. That will help me to see a little bit better. Okay, this is interesting. Kind of feels like something more out of Skyrim now. Oh. Cute little rat. I will take this as a reference because it's kind of like a dark fantasy reference. A map of the secret inscriptions in the Vatican. Well, this is nice. Very ornate stairway. Damn, that looks realistic. Maybe from about here. Nice. Up or down, up or down. This looks like a kind of marbling texture with a more reflective layer on top. Nice chairs as well, fit the style. I do like the ceiling arch style here as well. I might not take a picture of that, but I'll keep it in mind. Looking at these in more detail, that's pretty cool. I will take a picture of that. It's a combination of geometry and texture detail, but from the looks of it, that is displaced after the fact because you can kind of see the stretching. I think anyway. It's hard to know for sure, but it's amazing detail though. So let's carry on. So finally we are allowed outside. Wow. That's interesting. Ooh. What an introduction. So we say it's all very World War II imposed at the moment. Yeah, I'm kind of keen on having a look in those tents. But naturally, I think I've got to take a picture about here. Look at that, interesting different layers of architecture. Very, very nice. So this is a really interestingly designed feature. I've just come out into the light to have a look. Because the inventory here is quite diegetic, meaning it's in 3D space. It's reactive to the light, right? So I can have a look at the books, and it looks like we learn skills from these. And they've all got their own like style to them as well. They've got their branding made by them. So I think that's really interesting to look at all of these. You know, thinking about the effort that's gone into designing the covers of them and all that. They've tried to make it also physical and tactile. Okay, let's take a look at this water. It's interesting, the good water kind of makes you question whether something is a 2D plane or like a 3D mesh object or something different entirely, like something volumetric. In this case, I think they've done a good job, particularly with these, what I'm assuming are like bent cylinders. And again, with the texture details layering on this as well. Looks great. I might take a reference pic of this. Very nice. So I believe that's an inscription I need to take a picture of. Again, the brick details here, really great close up because there's some inconsistency. We see we have some of the fronts missing there, but not all over. I wonder if that's repeated. It might be repeated in the same places on the next modular elements of the architecture, should we say? Yeah. So look, it's the same pattern of missing bricks on every one of these, which goes to show that these assets are, you know, recycled. So they probably could have done a bit of a better job there for diversity, but it still looks great anyway. And this door as well. Brilliant. So I'm going to take a reference snap here. Ooh, very cozy. I do love me some beautiful vegetation. The trees are lovely out here in the Vatican Gardens. Maybe I'll just grab a snapshot here. Again, the lighting is just brilliant. And it matches so well with like the surface and materials. Beautiful. I keep bumping into like these really lovely looking places. They just stand out like nothing else. I know I'm supposed to go generally down here now as part of this side quest, but as I look up, I see the markings of bird poo again that we've noticed earlier on in the game, and a potential path for climbing. I don't know if I can go up there, but that's an indication of level design, right? So let's take a look. In a way, it reminds me of Mirror's Edge. Here we go. You see, in Mirror's Edge, they had this consistent thing where the places you could go were marked with red. In this game, it seems the places we can go are marked with bird poo, which is a little bit less elegant, maybe? But it is what it is. Yeah, I do wonder how much of the layout is accurate to real life, like how much effort they put into it. Because it must have taken ages to put all of these pieces together. I will take a picture of this. Wow, nice view of the Vatican from there. And of the garden grounds as well. Really pretty. I'd like to get a picture of that if I can get closer. Again, so much texture detail, even down to the wood, the frayed painted edges. Damn, I liked how the chair broke then. It's again more attention to detail, being able to have it fall apart. But not all of it has. Did it break apart only where it was hit? In which case that's quite impressive. Oh nice, I like this room. So I might take inspiration from this for, again, my future lighting scenes. Seems as though having a top light source there is useful for providing something very moody down on the inside. It is quite biblical, very church-like, obviously, it's the Vatican. So I'm just going to take a couple of pictures here. It's number 1. And if I get a different angle, number 2. These images are a little bit busy. Actually, let's wait for the stamina to disappear. And I'm seeing some ornate elements that are interesting as well. I wonder if I can get up to them.
Buongiorno.
God's grace, ma'am.
Buongiorno. Again, multi-layered kind of texture work going on, which looks pretty interesting. We can see what they got the paint cracks going. And yeah, it just seems like the common technique here in this game is just layers upon layers upon layers, which I guess is more realistic. That's probably why it looks so good. So let's take a little screenshot here. Add that into the collection. So it's coming along quite nicely. We've got a good variety going here. Let's go a bit further. So we emerge out near the rooftops I love vegetation growing around buildings. That's something I would like to do more. Geometry nose generators seem like a good way to do that. Let's put you there. And again, even more texturing detail. You see this layer here, particularly like between the floors of the building. So this will be like another story. Then the paint's wearing off just specifically on that level. That's a really interesting detail. Although that texture is a bit of a harsh cutoff just below it there. I'll take a screenshot here because we've got many different layers of the modular architectural elements going. Very nice. So the reason I want to save a lot of stuff like this is because I'm keen on doing architectural pieces from different eras for future kit bash packs and stuff like that. Obviously, I'll grab stuff from real life as well, but it's cool to see what other artists have done. Let's climb up and get around. Oh, wow. Okay. We're getting proper ornate in here. Check out that ceiling. This kind of reminds me of some stuff from Hampton Court Palace here in the UK. But interestingly, these square spiral patterns that go around the top there, they're almost a bit Greek as well. God, there's just so many layers of textures. Again, look, the marble, the gold, different layers of marble, and the fray lines between the marble in there. God, the amount of effort. As you can tell, I'm very impressed with what we've been seeing so far. So I'm going to take a close-up. Oh, it's just endless. Endless detail. The marble floors are reflecting what's in the room. I wonder if that's ray traced or just screen space. Oh, it's screen space. I can tell. Here's a little trick. Because obviously the screen space face can only use what's in the camera view. Don't detect me. So notice how we see the red curtains in the reflection on the floor there. It's because it's grabbing that data from the red curtains here in the camera view. But as I look down and as the curtains clip out of the camera view, then they disappear from the reflection. You see that? In the reflection, they're gone. And now they're back. But they're only back when the curtains are in the camera view. So that's why it's screen space. That's the limitation of the technique. Wow, this is amazing. Look at the lighting in the statue there. Oh my god, there's so much detail. I keep geeking out about this, but this is crazy. And how fast it's running as well. I mean, it's actually smoother on my screen than you're seeing on the recording. I'm using a 3090, by the way. That's insane. Maybe I should definitely do something like this for Afterglow. When I think about my lighting work for Blender, I wonder what to do for branding quite a lot in terms of like having an identity for a product. And I've always thought about having plain classical architectural elements to demonstrate lighting, because there's just so many interesting and recognizable surfaces for light to bounce off. God, this is great as well. It's turning into like a really big collection of nice references. Oh wow, so this is the excavation site, and it is very messy and just full of Nazi rubbish. Look at me, master of stealth, knocking people out right in plain sight. He was just looking straight at me. AI, fantastic. If I can get a better view on top of the excavation site, it might be interesting to take a picture looking down. But wow, those structural elements are quite interesting as well. But hey, let's explore. Again, absolutely impeccable. Look at those different levels of texture detail there. And we've also got depth to it. Stone and rock. Again, it looks like a combination of like hand done, but also photo scanned. I don't know if it actually is, but however they've done it, I'm impressed. Even here, the broken ceilings with the pattern. Let's get a picture of this as well. So by this excavation site, we're now in a room that looks, I don't know, a little bit earlier, a bit Western in some way. But again, I quite like the layout here because it's a good reference for lots of pieces of dirt of various sizes. So we've got like micro dirt details there, quite grungy, actually like physically present. A cleaner area for rest with some footprints, some storytelling, and then objects of various sizes to fill in the space between. So we're going to take this as a reference. Well, I said I wanted a top-down view, so this is what I get, but wow, look at the building detail as well. Okay, let's just get a snapshot of this. And I'm supposed to be down there, so we'll investigate where this guy is. Taking a moment just to appreciate a simple bit of lighting on really nice-looking materials. Brilliant. You know, I always find it really crazy how, you know, we play video games and we just walk past this stuff all the time. And I wonder how many people like actually just stop and admire it for a while. But things are getting so good now in terms of like the lighting and the materials and stuff that it's just so easy to take it for granted. All right, let's do a little bit more for this. Now, in terms of engine, I believe this game is made with the id engine. Because when you look at, you know, the power of the lighting and the adaptive nature of it, this is the kind of thing that we usually see with like Unreal Engine titles, but they put quite a lot of effort into the id engine. Ah yes, Mussolini. Oh, wow. Check that out. So that's the Vatican obelisk, right? And the center. Where am I now? The Tower of Nicholas V. This looks interesting. Ooh. Now those are some strong volumetrics, eh? It's a cool idea though for a scene. So we got something cylindrical or dome-like, classical elements, a strong light source. Let's get up a bit higher. So another benefit to just moving around games like this and observing how things are done, even if you don't recreate them, is that everything you observe, you take on board, and it just adds it to your collective memory of what things look good and interesting. I think study and observation is an important thing in trying to develop your skills. It's not necessarily the case that you have to do things exactly the same as everyone else, but it does help just to kind of add some more ideas to your mental palette. So a nice moody cellar, statues, more rays of light coming from up high, so that's something we're seeing quite consistent here. Statue, and a rather freaky one here, just kind of poking out. That's interesting, gives me a bit of a horror idea. Reminds me of the Weeping Angels a bit. So interestingly, I'm gonna take a snapshot of that. And I think we've probably got enough for this episode, so I'll say we'll wrap it up there, and then I'll continue. Hopefully you found it interesting and quite chill, just sitting with me as we explore all different professional 3D art environments in this new Indiana Jones game. There's just so much beauty to explore here, and a lot of stuff that I think will just go under the radar for people that will, walk past it without having a second thought about the amount of effort and detail that goes into all of this. But I think it's just nice taking a moment to sit down and appreciate it. So if you made it this far through the video, let me know. Otherwise, have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you next time.